how much prison time did this fentanyl dealer get in Arkansas? So according to a federal prosecutor, Ethan Driskell had been dealing a combination drug in Northwest Arkansas, which would be like a drug with fentanyl combined, like maybe methamphetamine with fentanyl combined or cocaine with fentanyl combined. Attention really came on Ethan Driskell when on the night of January 1st, 2022, Ethan sold what was supposed to be heroin to Robert Hedayes and his girlfriend. Robert Hedayes and his girlfriend went back to his apartment, mixed the drugs that they bought with water, used them, and then the next morning, Robert Hedayes took his girlfriend to work. He went back to his apartment and he shot up the same drugs he had used the night before, only this time, 9 minutes after using the drugs, Robert Hedayes fell to the floor dead. Because what Robert Hedayes believed to be heroin actually contained fentanyl. And I don't know if you have a lot of knowledge about fentanyl. I don't have a lot of knowledge about drugs myself, but I looked it up. So it can take an amount as small as 2 milligrams of fentanyl to be deadly to an individual. This is an example of what 2 milligrams of fentanyl would look like to be deadly. So Robert Hedayes actually was not found for 2 days. His girlfriend kept trying to get in touch with him. She was unable to make contact. And 2 days after he died, she finally went by to check on him and found him dead in his home. And before anyone is like, well, that's just another drug addict that has died. Oh, well, why am I supposed to care? Let me tell you about Robert Hedayes. Robert Hedayes was actually a graduate from the University of Arkansas. According to his obituary, Robert Hedayes went on to become a graduate of the University of Texas. He received his Bachelor of Science degree, and he went on to start a business in Northwest Arkansas. Robert Hedayes was the owner of Pet Marshall LLC. Robert Hedayes was a tennis fan that taught tennis lessons and actually even strung tennis rackets for the University of Arkansas tennis team. Like every other person out there that struggles with addiction or dies from a drug overdose, Robert Hedayes was a real person. The Fayetteville Police Department became aware of Robert Hedayes' death on February 3rd, 2022, and the DEA started an investigation. As a part of their investigation, the DEA conducted some control buys involving Ethan Driskell, who was found by them to be the person that sold Robert Hedayes the drugs that contained fentanyl. According to the federal indictment on February 10th, 2022, Ethan Driskell sold an amount of controlled substance containing fentanyl to an undercover DEA agent. On February 12th, there was another control buy that was done by a DEA agent. A controlled substance containing fentanyl was sold again by Ethan Driskell. On February 12th, there was a search warrant that was executed at Ethan Driskell's home in Farmington, Arkansas. At that time, the DEA collected 730 pills that contained fentanyl and 240 grams of fentanyl powder. There were also 2 firearms in the home at the time that the search warrant was executed. Ethan Driskell was arrested and charged with 3 counts of knowingly distributing a substance that contained fentanyl. He was charged with intentionally possessing with intent to distribute more than 40 grams of a mixture or substance that contained fentanyl and possessing a firearm in furtherance of a drug trafficking crime. He was also a felon in possession of a firearm because he had already served time in prison. Marcello Oliver was charged with the same things that Ethan Driskell was charged with, in addition to being charged with knowingly and intentionally possessing cocaine. All 3, meaning Marcello Oliver, Ethan Driskell, and Amber Adair, were charged with knowingly and intentionally combining and conspiring to distribute a controlled substance. On September 15th, 2023, Ethan Driskell pled guilty to distribution of a substance or mixture that contained fentanyl, resulting in death. Ethan Driskell was sentenced to 456 months in federal prison. He was sentenced to 456 months, which is 38 years without the possibility of parole. Now, in federal prison, they usually have to serve 85% of their sentence before they're eligible for release. So I don't know if he would have to serve the entire 38 years or if he would be eligible for release after 33 and a half years. For her part, Amber Adair had already been sentenced to 8 years in federal prison, meaning she would have to serve almost 7 years before she is eligible for parole. Marcello Oliver actually has not been sentenced yet. He was scheduled for sentencing about a week ago, but that was rescheduled, so I don't know when he will be sentenced. I believe that these are among the first arrests of fentanyl-related deaths in the state of Arkansas. Thank you for watching this video. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share.